As you guys have no doubt heard by now, Black Templar vows have returned in their new 9th edition supplement, and one of them stands out in particular: Uphold the Honour of the Emperor. With the potential of an army-wide 5++ and mini-transhuman, are the Black Templars about to make a devout push for the Dreadnought throne of the Deathwatch? In this measure-up episode dedicated to comparing armies across Warhammer 40k, we will take a closer look at how well the two supplements to Dreadnoughts and which one does it best. Welcome to SwissHammer, your channel for modeling in Warhammer 40k. My name is Temmer, and I will be guiding you through this video. Last weekend saw the early release of the Black Templars 9th edition supplement through their new boxed set. What I would certainly describe as one of its highlights is the return of the Templar vows, which is basically their version of a super doctrine. While they have 4 vows to pick from, the one that arguably created the most uproar so far is the following: Uphold the Honour of the Emperor. It grants a 5+ invul save to all Black Templar units, as well as a mini-transhuman, which only allows your units to be wounded on a 3+. Each vow also comes with a downside. For this one, it is that your units are not able to gain the benefits of cover against enemy attacks. While the more fluffy players among us will now scream Land Raiders and Assault Centurions, there is one unit type in particular that has been standing out among an otherwise somewhat mediocre Space Marine codex: Dreadnoughts. The only vehicles to get the core keyword, as well as Duty Eternal becoming a built-in ability, many of the recent still successful Space Marine lists among a Drukhari and AdMech dominated meta have been leaning heavily into these walk-in coffins. The chapters that stood out in particular over these recent months were Ultramarines, Iron Hands, and of course Deathwatch. The completely unbiased Deathwatch player that I am, I will of course say that the latter does it best, or at least did until now. I will get into that in just a moment though. So, with Black Templars being able to stack an army-wide 5+ invul, mini-transhuman, as well as a 5+ feel no pain against mortal wounds from their chapter tactic, Righteous Seal, on their Dreadnoughts, would this not instantly make them the new kings of Dreadnought lists? Is it time for us Deathwatch players to repaint our left pauldrons in black and become a zealot of a different sort? In order to answer this question, we first have to look at what exactly made Deathwatch the arguably dominant Dreadnought chapter these past few months. While the dominant Dreadnought-heavy tournament lists come with slight variations, at its core are always 2 to 3 Redemptor Dreadnoughts and 2 to 3 Relic Contemptor Dreadnoughts, with the overperforming twin Volkites. These walking coffins are then further backed up by support characters, usually a captain and a tech marine, and the Proteus kill teams, with the latter being a troops choice unique to the Deathwatch. The captain carries the Dominus Aegis relic, which will offer a 5+ invul bubble to core units, such as the Redemptor Dreadnoughts. What's particularly great about this way of providing the invul save is that it's active by default, it does not require psychic powers or the usage of stratagems. It also means that in case you are going second and the Redemptors are taking fire turn 1, the invul is already up. The Relic Contemptors don't need this, as they already come with their built-in 5+ invul anyway. In light of the discussion about Black Templar vows, I think it is important to remember that while adding the invul to the Redemptors is amazing in Deathwatch lists, what truly stands out is the interaction with their offensive ranged output. As their own version of a super doctrine, Deathwatch can pick the doctrine order. With the help of the paragon of their chapter warlord trait, Deathwatch can access the Dark Angel's brilliant strategist chapter tactics and put the unit back into previous doctrine. Combined with what's already in the Space Marine Codex, this allows maximizing the Devastator doctrine. Furthermore, their own chapter tactics allows wound rerolls of 1 against the battlefield roll of choice. Popular relics like the Tomb of Ectoclades or the Vorken further add to the already impressive range damage output. In short, the Deathwatch supplement offers the combined effect of devastating offensive output on the Dreadnoughts, backed up by the additional layer of protection on the Redemptors and the board control offered through their amazing troop choices, first among them the kill teams. While the Black Templar supplement can stack more defense on the Dreadnoughts, it does not offer the same amount of ranged offensive tools in order to make Dreadnought-heavy lists perform to the same extent as Deathwatch does. Instead, the greatest synergy for offensive output is tied to the Assault Doctrine and close combat in general. Their unique troops and HQ choices also tie further into that. With all that being said, here are my early predictions. Redemptor Dreadnoughts will no doubt be showing up in competitive Black Templar lists, at least initially. It is the somewhat unimaginative safe pick to do. As we have also suggested in the early months of the Deathwatch supplement, you cannot really go wrong with a Redemptor or 2 in 9th edition. Anyone who purchased the Black Templar launch box now has at least one anyway. The mentioned WoW makes a great pick even better. The use case of a 5++ on them has been there for months. However, Black Templars are a close combat oriented chapter and most of their toolset plays into that. Having that backed up by some ranged support that can also punch in close combat is sensible. As I said, the Redemptor is a safe pick to fill that role and more. Beyond that, I also suspect that the more creative minds will try their luck with some of the overlooked units of 9th edition. From a Deathwatch perspective, I would love me some Assault Centurions or a Gladiator tank with a 5++ and mini-transhuman, but this is with our previously mentioned toolset in mind. As a third potential option, it might also be that the competitive Black Templar lists will not build around being locked into this specific WoW. While it does appear to be the strongest all-rounder pick, some of the others may end up being better for specific matchups. A quick reminder of what happened with the Deathwatch supplement. Initially, there was the big hype for the Fortis and Indomitor kill teams. Some went as far as proclaiming the Proteus kill team dead. Half a year later, the recipe that conquered the meta turned out to be completely different. Even though their codex is still relatively new, something similar can be said for T5 orcs and what that change initially implied. Personally, I think that for the time being, Deathwatch will remain firmly seated on the throne for Dreadnought-heavy lists. Their unique way to maximize the corresponding doctrines and rerolls combined with a strong relic and overperforming Volkites will see to that. As far as I'm concerned, it will be an upcoming FAQ rather than the Black Templar supplement that could be their downfall. Having said that, while we might not have to repaint our silver arm in black and slap on a Templar's cross after all, I think that the Black Templars got a great supplement and they would certainly be my current close combat oriented chapter of choice. I might just have to try a game or two with their new supplement and perhaps borrow a couple of my Deathwatch Redemptors while the Inquisition isn't watching. Coming to think of it, as I was doing a video on the Ironclad Dreadnought recently, I would love to run that one with Black Templars now. To wrap things up, over the course of the video, we have looked at one specific WoW of the new Black Templar supplement, Uphold the Honour of the Emperor. With the potential of an army-wide 5++ and mini-transhuman, one or the other Deathwatch player might wonder whether the Black Templars are about to make a devout push for the Dreadnought throne of the Deathwatch. While the defensive potential on Dreadnoughts such as the Redemptor is no doubt very impressive and will likely likely see them included in competitive Black Templar lists for a while, the supplement does not provide the same offensive ranged synergy such as can be found in the Deathwatch. As a result, my prediction is that Deathwatch will remain firmly seated on the throne of Dreadnought-heavy lists for the time being, at least up until something other than the Black Templar supplement, an FAQ addressing Volkites for instance, will shake up the meta once more. Personally, I will be very curious to see if the mentioned WoW will be able to bring some other overlooked units back to competitive play. I'm thinking non-Dreadnought vehicles or Centurions for instance. From a Deathwatch perspective, I sure would love to get a 5+ Invul and mini-transhuman on these kinds of units, but this is of course with the rest of the Deathwatch toolset in mind. One thing to consider though is that the Black Templar WoW also comes with a downside, not receiving the benefits of cover, and from a Deathwatch perspective, with our kill teams and the wide availability of storm shields thanks to our Proteus kill teams, this would be a hefty price to pay. In the end, does it simply come down to the grass being greener on the other side? Perhaps, but regardless of which of the two supplements we end up playing, at least we will be playing with some amazingly looking black-clad space marines. Praise be, suffer not the alien, and so on. So that's it for my take on the new Black Templar supplement and whether they can dethrone the Dreadnoughts of the Deathwatch or not. To both Deathwatch and Black Templar players, what are your thoughts on this matter? Any of my fellow Deathwatch veterans keen on going on a crusade for a change? Have I gotten everything wrong and need to repurpose my Dreadnoughts for Black Templars after all? Let me know in the comments. Finally, I would also like to mention that there is a SwissHammer Facebook page where I will be posting links to my videos as well as articles I find of interest. I do read a lot about the hobby, but not all of it will always end up as its own video. I look forward to seeing you there as well. I do also have a Patreon page. If you like my content, any additional support is greatly appreciated as it helps me invest into future videos. As always, thank you very much for watching guys, your continued support is greatly appreciated. I hope you have been enjoying this video, give me a thumbs up if you did, and don't forget to subscribe if you haven't done so already. Thanks again and see you next time.